So far this year, at least 354 U.S. service members have killed themselves, according to military statistics. That's more than the 335 killed by enemy fire in Iraq and Afghanistan this year combined. The soaring suicide rate has not only prompted alarm, but also questions about a long-standing White House policy that CNN first reported on last month, not to send presidential letters of condolence to military families of suicide victims.
Does the president believe that those families deserve a letter of condolence as well?
Well, the president believes that the previous policy that didn't write those letters can and should be reviewed, and that review is ongoing.
The Secretary of Defense doesn't write these letters either.
I think you could talk to people in this building who believe that if you were to extend your letter writing to include suicide victims, that it would somehow diminish the sacrifice of those who have died in combat.
The issue has touched a raw nerve. On CNN.com, the story prompted more than 400 comments, many of them highly emotional. There is, quote, no honor in suicide, wrote one person who said he fought in Fallujah, Iraq in 2003, saying suicide does not deserve a hero's exit. But from a self-identified Army spouse, a plea to the president to change the policy. Quote, you need to show the family that you acknowledge their sacrifice. The family members CNN profiled last month were the parents of 25-year-old Army Specialist Chancellor Kiesling.
Today we'll be reading The Cat in the Hat.
He killed himself in Iraq in June.
So we don't want to force the president to write a letter of condolence. We hope he would want to.
Just days after that story aired, the president, in his Afghanistan speech, talked about seeing firsthand the terrible wages of war.
As president, I have signed a letter of condolence to the family of each American who gives their life in these wars.
But the Kieslings, who emailed CNN moments after that speech, say the president's words were hurtful.
What would you say to that family?
Regardless of what happens, nothing lessens the amazing contribution and sacrifice that's made.
Yet Indiana Republican Congressman Dan Burton, who's taken up the Kieslings' cause, insists the absence of a presidential condolence letter does diminish the sacrifice and service of military suicide victims.
Are they any less an American who was fighting for us than the others? No. And so I think it's extremely important that they and their families are recognized for their service to the country.
Now, this week, Congressman Burton has joined with Democratic Congressman Patrick Kennedy in asking lawmakers to sign on to this letter to President Obama. It asked the president to overturn the policy and send a strong signal about not discriminating against U.S. service members with mental illness. Meantime, Wolf, the White House says that it hopes to conclude its review of this policy shortly. Wolf.
Elaine Quijano, thanks very much for that.